Hello and welcome back to our mini-series on death by drunken behavior on Exploring with Ash and Jake. Today we're going to be talking about the mystery body in room 348. The year was September 15th, 2010. Greg Flinken was found dead alone in his motel room, where Elegante Hotel located in Beaumont, Texas, the hotel where you can check in but never check out. At least this was the case for Greg Flinken. Hours later, Beaumont PD found Greg Flinken, 55, dead on the floor with the television still playing, the AC was off, and more than $1,000 cash was still inside of Greg Flinken's wallet. Candy bars, soda, and smokes were laid out on the bed. Everyone assumed, from family, friends, police, even the medical examiner, that Greg died of natural causes. This was not to be the case in point. Greg Flinken was a successful businessman. He had an oil business and was liked by everyone. Dr. Tommy Brown found Greg's body suffered from internal damage, broken ribs, lacerations to both the liver, scrotum, and a hole through the heart. How did he die, might you ask? Blunt force trauma. Greg's death was ruled a homicide. The motive in the story is accidental, drunken behavior with a firearm. The suspect, Lance Mueller, was charged with manslaughter on October 29, 2012, and has a 10-year prison sentence. His weapon of choice was a 9mm Ruger. For those of you who haven't read this case, it's actually very interesting how the police ended up catching the two mastermind criminals, or idiots in this case, they were also electricians like Greg was in the story, and they were drinking at a local bar, and then they came back to their motel room. They were the two friends were playing around with a firearm, and he pointed it at his friend as a joke, and the friend smacked his hand away. The firearm fell out of his hand and then ended up bouncing, pulling the trigger, and then the bullet went from their motel room into the motel room of where Greg was staying next door, and point blank shot him while he was laying in the bed. Greg did not know he had been shot until he was coughing and got up off his bed and then fell and died in the doorway. These two men did not know Greg, and they thought that nothing had happened since they didn't hear any commotion in the room. They didn't think they had hurt anybody, so they continued going back out to the bar, came back, and I guess after they heard him coughing, they went in and tried to clean up the crime scene. They tried to put toothpaste in the walls to cover up the holes. They denied interacting with this guy or knowing anything, and then the police wanted them to come in, and detectives, and sign a report, and then asked them if they wanted to change anything in their statement before they kind of signed off and finalized it for the police. So the police played the two co-working friends against each other, and long story short, they said, hey, we know you were involved in this. We found that you covered a hole in the wall with toothpaste, and the hole in the wall doesn't coincide where the door handle would if it would have banged a hole in the wall. So we know you had some involvement, and you both are going to go to jail if you don't tell us what's going on. And then they said, well, your friend already copped to it and said you were involved. So they played each other against each other. And then the truth came out, and one of them was charged and the other was let go.